Hey there, it's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 146, and we're talking that hot new game, 1998's Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, we're doing our disc dive in two parts. This is going to be part one of two parts. We played through half of Metal Gear Solid, and we're here to talk about it. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Kayla.
Hey, hey.
A first timer to the Metal Gear Solid series.
I didn't dare impersonate anything from it because I'll leave that for what follows.
We'll leave that for everyone else. D, your best Metal Gear character impersonation, please.
The Shagwad. The Shagwad.
Maybe that'll come up in a different disc dive.
Maybe, yeah.
Mike, your best Metal Gear impression, please.
Do you remember, Eric, the feel of podcasting, the clashing of bones and sinew?
Me more, Mike.
That's good. And Tomas, please, you as well.
Shalashaska.
Gosh, I love it.
Any excuse to use that name.
I love that only Mike stayed with the actual game we are talking about today. That's good.
I don't. All right, hold on. Obligatory. Metal Gear.
Good stuff. So we are breaking down essentially the first half of Metal Gear Solid. We played, well, Tomas has played through the whole game recently, but Kayla and I, at least, played up through the first Sniper Wolf battle. Spoilers, there's another Sniper Wolf battle.
You just spoiled it.
Kayla. But we will, for anyone who's like Kayla and has never played through the series or anything else like that, checking it out for the first time, maybe listening to someone talk about it for the first time, that's where we stopped. That's where me and Kayla stopped, and that's where this conversation will go. For us, it took about 6 hours, I would say, roughly, to get there. It's How Long to Beat has the game at 11.5 hours, and that's probably what we were at. We're like 5.5 hours, something like that.
As a cruising, yeah.
To get to there. Is that probably about what everyone else was at?
I think I was about 8.5.
You said 3.5, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, to get there.
Oh, man.
I beat the game in 8.5. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, let's just say I'm having a really hard time with the buttons.
Okay.
I was too.
Yeah.
I figured it out, kind of. It always takes a minute to get back into it. Like, even if I quit playing for a little bit and I'm like, oh, wait.
There's like a reason for that.
Circle is X.
It's like that old school Japanese button mapping. It was like with old RPGs that came to the West as well. Like X was cancel and circle was confirm.
Right.
So,
square is menu because it looks like a piece of paper.
Okay.
Yeah, for those and
sense.
stuff. There's a really cool history of why PlayStation went with those symbols.
Okay.
It's in my bones now.
But I'm playing with on the Switch with my GameCube Joy-Cons.
Ooh.
And that button layout is really weird for Metal Gear. It's been a learning curve, but
that's funky, bro. Fucking, why would you do that to yourself?
So the interesting thing, we were able to go into the options menu, and you can change the four buttons basically. Yeah. So we're playing on the PS5, and
you can change something else too.
What else can you change? Oh yes, we'll get to that. Yes, but so we changed X and circle, but it only works for in-game. Like the actions,
not any menus.
Not any menus. Yeah. So you still have to remember while you're in the menus to use like circle to confirm.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you get in the main menu. You get really used to that and that zhwing, that the backup sound and the
wonderful sound effects. By the way,
yeah,
I mean the best in the game.
Hell yeah!
Very iconic stuff from the opening, like man,
that opening. Oh god, I want to crack this motherfucker open, dude.
Let's do it.
the
opening sequence, Tomas, take us there.
Yeah.
Holy shit! just how the game begins, like first off, like, okay, OG this game, like there's like extra like video you can watch when like Snake's getting interrogated, like before they even take him in to the whole Shadow Moses thing. But like it's just like it's not actually like animated or anything. It's just like kind of like a foggy kind of
digital graphic novel.
Yes, some shit like that. Whatever. Cool. That's how. That's where they suppress his stomach acid and he hides his cigarettes in his butt. But no, man,
just rip a cig sometimes. Gotta rip a cig.
I just remember like the first time I played this game, way back when, we didn't get Metal Gear we didn't get Metal Gear proper, and we didn't get Metal Gear Solid, or we didn't get Metal Gear 2, which has a lot of parallels to this game.
1-to-1 in a lot of ways.
A lot of ways. Metal Gear 2, way ahead of its time. Super good backbone for this game. But like this game being in 3D and on new hardware, I think gave like Kojima like the keys that he wanted to like just drive the car. Like the shots like taken in that opening scene, how everything's like you're watching a fucking movie. Like this game's a movie, and you press a few buttons in between some cutscenes. But it's enthralling, man. Like fucking, you're coming in, they're naming all kinds of fucking like military like shit. Yeah. That, you don't know what the fuck it is, but yeah, I'll take your word for it, Colonel. Like fucking. But it's sick as fuck, man. It's like I don't know who Big Boss is, and I don't know why they want his body, but I'm on the ride with this Solid Snake dude. He's got this deep guttural voice. He's like, and he knows what's up, man. He's world class super soldier, one man army coming in, and I tell you what, the first time I played that opening scene, it took me like an hour to get past those two guards. But
yeah,
it took me quite a bit. It took me a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we should
all running through water.
Kind of talk about the first time we played it, because
that's a good call.
Yeah, I had never played a game like this ever, a game where you're trying to avoid stuff. You're sneaking. I had encountered a PlayStation a few times in my life before I owned one. I got one in 2000. And Metal Gear Solid was always the game that was inside of the PlayStation. Like I'd be at a cousin's house or a family friend or something, and I'd always try to play it, and I would never get past that opening with the elevator. Because my thing was like, okay, I don't have any weapons. I need to kill those guys to get the weapons.
Take their weapons, procure.
And that would never happen.
They don't die.
As I tried, I would knock them out. I would pick them up, and I'd get ammo for weapons sometimes. Yep. And then eventually they would die from my pummeling of them.
It takes a while, man.
And no weapons.
So many shoulder flips.
Right. Yeah. It's like
and they don't work as good as in Metal Gear Solid 3, man. I'm telling you. Right. These guys are down for like half a second. Fucking.
Did you guys have a similar experience of just like trying to wrap your head around what to do with this game?
It was weird. Okay. So I never owned this game. I just borrowed it. This was back when Tony was, I think, in band number 3. I remember the drummer's name, Chad Davis. He lent us Metal Gear Solid. He's like, you gotta play this game. You gotta play this game. It's fire as fuck. PlayStation was the hottest thing. Full voice acting. I thought that shit blew my gourd off my head. Like first time I heard that, I was like, and it was good voice acting too. I was like, I was convinced. I was like, Colonel Campbell's never going to steer me wrong. he's my boy. Spoiler alert. But all these people, I mean, Ming Lee is a little bit over the top. Didn't age well. Fucking.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, these characters are characters. And I was like, holy shit, like, what kind of game am I playing? Besides the whole stealthy boy part, which took me a while to figure out. I think it took me up until Metal Gear Solid 3 to figure out how to play this game stealthy. And I still didn't do it, but yeah, man, it was like, just like I said, it was like playing a movie, like an interactive movie. And to me, like this is like the de facto argument why like video games don't translate well to a movie screen, because I'm behind the steering wheel, bro. Like it's like just enough like that I'm moving the progress of the game along. There's stakes. I feel like, there's some reward to me getting good at the game, but like I'm also getting funneled this, very, very rich story for the time.
Yeah.
Thus instilling my, hatred for the government from a very young age. And, but man, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to like fucking narrow it down to like just a bite-sized morsel. Like this game did a lot of shit, and it did a lot of shit right, real fast out the gate for me.
And it's so like, even though I've never played one of these games, I know the sounds. Like even a sound, I'm like, oh, I know what that is. I know that's Metal Gear. Right. I know so much about it, even though I've never had my hands on the sticks. It's interesting.
I'm a little jealous. Like to get that buzz, to feel that. Like I felt good playing this again too. It's like it had been probably about 15 years since I played this game.
Same.
I was like, holy shit! I'm like, this game's still doing something for me.
It is an adjustment of play style. I think like so much of going into playing video games, you more or less charge, like, I gotta take these 2 guards out, but you do not do that here.
You can't throw your fucking boomerang axe at these guys, Kayla.
Right.
You're not a god of war here. You are a one-man army who the whole entire Western civilization relies on you to accomplish your mission.
But I have a weakness, and it's ladies.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
It is a bit cringy. I'm having a hard time with that stuff.
The 90s stuff. Yeah.
He's don't like it. Snake is not my boy. He is straight trash. I don't want to be around him.
I do want to tell my origin story, because I think that's a good a good thing to talk about, because there's a message as soon as you get boot up the game, at least in the Master Collection, that says like something to the effect of like, hey, these games like have themes of the time, we left them in, but like be aware, kind of things. And
take that shit out.
Well,
or correct it a little bit. Resident Evil 4 remake did a fine job. Yeah. Just a little tweaking, just a little.
They didn't tweak anything with this though.
No, there's zero tweak.
Yeah, this is the same. You're getting the experience you would have gotten in 98.
Hey,
basically.
You can't call it zero, because when they say press the start button, it's not. The text still says what I actually need to do. So they changed some stuff.
Yeah, it says touchpad now.
Touchpad.
Yeah, so my origin with Metal Gear though, I had a PS2 already. And so at that time I was playing like Final Fantasy X and stuff like that, and I had like heard of the Metal Gear series, but never really messed around with it or anything. And my little sister's cousin, we would go over there from time to time, over their house, and they had a PS1. Never owned a PS1 myself, and he had Metal Gear, and I watched him playing it a little bit, and I'm like, I got to talking to him, and he's like, oh yeah, I never really play this game or anything else. I'm like, okay, well then he's not gonna miss it, right?
Hell yeah.
And so I pilfered the disc.
Syndrome.
You jacked it? Oh,
I jacked the disc because I wanted to play this game. I know
this person.
This is Ariel's cousin Brian. I don't think you've ever met Brian. Brian, if you're listening, I don't think you're listening, but I'm sorry.
He owes $50.
If I still had the disc,
inflation.
I fully intended to give it back. By the way, it was just like he's never gonna miss it. I'll be back. I'll probably beat this game real quick. Whatever.
He was sweating for weeks.
Yeah. How many of your games did I play, Eric? that were stolen, bro.
Yeah, you're an accomplice, Tomas.
Was Final Fantasy VII stolen too? So we played that a lot.
Cousins, though, cousins.
But
Jet Force Gemini, is that what yours?
So there was just like there's always this air of danger in playing Metal Gear now for me. Like I always think back, my first experience was a little late to the party and stealing that disc, and I fell in love with it though. It's a victimless crime because like I loved it more than he did. There's no way he loved it as much as I loved that disc.
So you
did the right thing.
It was a PlayStation 1 game, and you played on your 2?
On my 2, yeah, it was backwards compatible. So
hell yeah, compatible.
And I
I
thought
remember that.
and that's the thing. I thought it was just as good as like
PS2.
GTA Vice City or Final Fantasy 10 that I was playing at that time. Like looking at them now, like comparing them graphically or something like that, like yeah, it doesn't really hold up, but at least from like a narrative standpoint, the voice acting, all of that, the newness of it, the difference, like what you guys are saying, like the stealth gameplay as opposed to action gameplay and stuff, like it was like, holy, this is revolutionary, even though this game's already probably 4, maybe even 5 years old by the time that I had played it. That's my introduction to Metal Gear.
Yeah.
D, what was yours? How'd you get on the Metal Gear tip?
So my father brought it home because my parents are gamers, and I only got introduced through most games, especially growing up, through them bringing stuff home. And he brought it home, went on a 20-minute tangent about how there's references from action movies and blah 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 on it, and he's like, it's gonna be really great, it's a great game, we're really excited to play it, blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. And then he turned it on, and that's opening cinematic, like as you were describing it, Tomas, earlier, like it's such a core memory for me of like, it's one of those opening cinematics I it's like ingrained in my head. And just sitting there, and he was like, my dad didn't even hesitate. It wasn't like he ran out and he was like, oh, I got caught. He just instinctively just started sneaking. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, that's wild.
Confirmed your dad is Solid Snake.
And just from that, and I only watched him play like, I don't know, maybe like the first like 10, 20 minutes. But just seeing like, oh, you're supposed to sneak. I was like, I'll be back. I'll do it myself. I'm done watching. And then I left.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
And then I came back, and I think I beat it in a day, just like, because I just nonstop played, died a bunch, especially the Psycho Mantis. Lots of trial and error. And actually, the fun fact about that, we figured that one out naturally because we play so many co-op games that when my brother was playing Psycho Mantis, he I remember him throwing the controller, being frustrated, and I was like, just play with the other one, like jokingly. And he started playing with it, and it just started working. And we were like, whoa!
Right.
That's amazing.
Such like that the game has so many like core memories for me, and like just so odd game design, like weird little vignettes and stuff. The like cringe virgin humor about women.
My god, yes, super cringe, bro. Oh my god, I'm getting hit on by the famous Solid Snake.
I think now we should probably get to it. Like, I don't remember Snake being so fucking thirsty. Like every female character in this game, he's just hitting on them constantly.
Fucking ugh.
I mean, it is very inspired by like Michael Bay film, like very machismo.
Big time.
So yeah, it gets even a little worse, like into
a little bit.
like some weird codec conversations that you can have in certain lockers.
Optional stuff, though.
Can we talk about the use of Japanimation?
Well, let's.
I think we need to lay the groundwork of what it is, kind of. All
right.
So Snake has been tasked with infiltrating a
Shadow
nuclear waste disposal plant.
Disarmament, yeah.
Shadow Moses, where a terrorist group named Foxhound has kidnapped two very important people in a very important arms company, arms tech,
and then the DARPA chief.
And their leader, Liquid Snake, has very specific demands.
Very specific demands.
Yes, and they claim to have access to a nuclear warhead.
Yep.
So.
And I think that opening cinematic that we've kind of like alluded to does such a good job of breaking it down in like just a couple minutes of like, okay, here's where you're going, Snake. Here's who you are as well. Like, oh, you're the legendary soldier. We brought you out of retirement. This is your old unit. Foxhound, you used to, be part of this. Now they've gone rogue, and here they are as well. They've got a psychic. They've got a dude who's got your same name for some reason.
A shaman and a master.
Like, break it down here's the bosses you're gonna fight. It's such a good breakdown of like what you're gonna do.
A rogues gallery of what you're gonna go up against.
Regular who's who, man.
Yeah. It's really good way to kind of break it down, and it mirrors like how the game kind of goes. You have little sections, and then you run into the boss. It's a beautiful game to like do this on, like have a disc dive on, because it is so segmented into like, okay, you're gonna hang out in this environment for a little while, and then you're gonna run into this member of Foxhound and have a unique boss battle with that member, because they all have different powers or abilities or whatever else. They're also unique. And just them breaking it down ahead of time is really
unique.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. That's all being like said to you while you're like gearing up and swimming up. It's like a cool way of camera work.
And the credits are rolling too. It feels very like a movie.
And then you get the opening shot. As soon as you die 20 times, trying to get past the first two guards in the game, going up the elevator.
The late credits.
You drop down to your sneaking suit. You look up, Metal Gear Solid right above your head. Boom. And then you come up to a fucking chopper.
Hind D.
I
think that opening does such a great job of filling in all the blanks that I never even knew existed.
All of the blanks.
Yeah. Like there's
2 games worth of blanks.
Yeah, exactly. And those games are this game at the time felt very like, this is the first time anyone's ever done something like this. But those other games kind of laid a groundwork too. Kojima and his team was doing this on way older hardware than they should have been able to do some of this stuff. Like just the structure of the games, having like Eric said, puzzly kind of gameplay, figure it out, Metroid-y gameplay parts with a unique boss fight.
Yeah.
And rinse and repeat. And I just think it's incredible what they did on with this game, making it feel like this is just a new franchise, the first one. Here you go, and not, you don't feel lost. Is what I'm left amazed by still.
They make references, but it's like they make sense, and it's just you're gonna tell me that whatever happened, whatever the backstory is, and you're not lost. It's great.
Right, Zanzibar. Who cares? What is that?
Sounds like a cool place.
I care a lot about Zanzibar Land. They celebrate American Thanksgiving in Zanzibar Land, Mike.
Hell yeah, dude.
Is that canon to the story?
I don't know, but it's part of the lore, baby.
Okay, cool.
Don't get me started on Metal Gear 2, baby. That game's fucking.
But then, when we have that opening title sequence, and then the game kind of then introduces what you're up against. You're up against your footprints being detected.
That shit was cool.
Spotlights finding you, security camera. Like the game really is. That opening zone is teaching you how you're going to have to navigate this. Yep. Yeah.
They give you 4 different ways to get into them. Well, you got 2 entryways, but you got multiple ways of sneaking around. You got a guard on the right.
Yeah.
You can go through the 2 spotlights, or you can go around the other way, but there's a guard standing right in front of the easiest entrance. And then, even if you don't look around, you miss a Soakum pistol in the back of a truck. You know.
I didn't miss that.
That's funny because Kayla went right to the truck.
That's why I brought it up.
She got it, and I was really impressed because I will tell you, I get the second one, the one that's in the hangar or whatever else. I did not know to this day, 25 years later, that there was a pistol in that truck because I always go right. I have always gone right and then up the stairs and then through the vent that's up the stairs. That is.
I'm the opposite.
I've played through this game half a dozen times, I think, and that's my route. And Kayla took the exact opposite route.
I did.
It's amazing how brains are hardwired.
Buffy gang, let's go.
She went into the truck and then immediately got past the sleeping guard there and went to the low, like perfect little crawl through that. I was very impressed.
She is Metal Gear.
Do the Alaskan field mice or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Are we going to talk about Master Miller now?
A little bit. I mean, he calls you there at that point.
Yeah, another character where you're like, hey,
who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, like someone who, in this game, you would never think would be important to the lore.
Oh my god, how important this character is.
Yeah, for sure.
Master.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But when I'm sneaking, I've done both, the upper entrance and the lower. And this one, I didn't get found at all. And then I bumped into that guy that's hiding right into it. But I know I remembered, like the radar is going to go off, but there's a transition right here. So if I just crawl through this, I'm safe. They forget all about me. If I know the same parts, elevators.
The games are great, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Stealthy as fuck.
One of the ways to game the system for sure in Metal Gear.
Hell yeah.
I do love how so right after that you kind of get a scene, you overhear some guards talking, and they let you know there's someone there besides Snake, someone else, because they do it so well, it's so subtle, it's they already took out 3 of our men or whatever else, and it's okay, so it's not you didn't kill anyone or whatever. Maybe you did. Maybe you found that pistol that I'll never find.
My God, I want to talk about Metal Gear Solid 2 so much right now.
Yeah. We're not doing
Gotta
that.
hold it.
But yeah, I think that's some really great. There's several scenes of really good foreboding of just overhearing a conversation or sneaking through a vent or something and seeing a character that, or hearing about a character you're gonna run into later and stuff like that. I think that's one of those I think very subtle things that the game does that once again just ahead of its time and adds to the cinematic nature of it.
Yeah,
it immerses you.
You get a Die Hard moment right away, crawling through those vents, hearing conversations through the vents. It's cool. Yeah.
It's good stuff. And
I have a machine gun now.
How did you guys do you guys go right to did you guys once you get in for the first time, do you guys do a lot of exploring or more immediately to try to find the DARPA chief as your first task?
I always explore a little bit, so I know there's shit that you can miss. There's this game's got a lot of benefit of I got a new key card, so I should double check all these doors, or
the Metroidiness is introduced in this first big area, because every door will have like a 2 or a fucking 6. You're like, how the fuck do I get in there?
It's a good way to miss the mine detector and, the infrared shit, And then there's a few shit that you don't even need. Like there's a camera that okay, whatever.
Oh, Tomas.
I got it.
But
cameras
for that walk,
Yeah, but I always it had been forever since I played the game, so yeah, I scoured. I know what the hangar base looks like in my head.
Yeah,
but I don't know what's in every single door, and I know at some point I'm gonna need chaff grenades, so I'm looking for those. I need my chaff. Stun grenades, I might use those every once in a while, but
very useful later on.
Yes, they are.
Stunnies.
Or punches.
I think I used the first person mode very often in old playthroughs.
No, definitely not.
But I think it's at least really novel in the sense that it's there and it can be useful. You can use it to see how the distance a guard is if they're out of line of the radar, the Soliton radar, and the map
Kodak.
and stuff like that. Especially if you're intending on shooting them. I think it's okay. Take a look. Oh, they're there. I'm gonna get them from a distance. That kind of thing. It's actually fairly useful. I found in this run through. That I would have never used it in the past, but. And it's cool to render that because the camera angle's kind of interesting. One of the first thing Kayla noticed was oh man, you can't you don't have direct control of the camera. That's kind of unusual, right? In a modern
You
game.
just want to look a little bit up, just a little bit over there.
Yeah.
Kojima inspired by John Woo, Michael Bay, and the camera in Mario 64. how to work this thing. It is unruly. It's awful. It sucks.
Just a lack of two on a fishing line, baby.
Gets fixed a bit in 2, and the Twin Snakes edition. I know we've talked about a ton before. The first personness of it breaks the game.
Kind of does.
So
it's a garbage version. Don't play it.
Oh, I love it. I love that version.
I'm glad it exists, but
Yoshi's in that thing.
I'm glad we're playing this version for sure.
Just give me the OG music.
Oh yeah, for sure. How did this game run for everybody? I want to ask.
Ran pretty good,
gorgeously. Have we run into any sort of issues, Kayla? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Definitely noticed some herky jerkiness with all of the cutscene transitions. Some just character models sometimes are weird. I just
thought that was what I was getting. I'm not questioning those things.
I don't remember a lot of that on the original at all.
I don't remember. Yeah.
I will say there has been a slight delay. Just a slight when the transition's going to happen from an action to a cinematic, there is there's a noticeable kind of little half-second delay in that. It doesn't take you out of it or anything, and it's run fine. But yeah,
I got one thing to say about that. It cannot be as long as a delay as it took from getting a random encounter in Final Fantasy IX to actually being able to start that fucking fight. Okay, and I will use every opportunity to trash that fucking game.
Check out our first disc dive for more hot takes on Final Fantasy IX.
Final Fantasy IX sucks. Come at me.
Damn. Half of a great game.
Half of a great game.
Oh man. So yeah, after you get to exploring a little bit, maybe finding a couple items that'll help you out, you got to find the DARPA chief, and you have a nice conversation with Donald Anderson, and it's the first moments, and hopefully, Kayla, you're getting some of this, and this isn't a spoiler in any way, but the first indications that not everything is what you think, there's some cracks,
obviously, yeah,
right. There's some cracks in Colonel Campbell's story and
some sketchy stuff going on,
right? Yep. Why am I here?
You're not getting the whole story.
Right.
So much geopolitical lingo is being spewed out, and
you know what's super wild? Like after that, knowing like Hideo Kojima now and everything that like the games and how much like research and like foreshadowing he makes for like actual like this is set in 2005, came out in 98. But when like the DARPA chief and stuff is talking about how like there's all kinds of missing, like we lose nuclear materials all the time in this country and stuff like that, like that's almost certainly actually the truth, because Hideo Kojima probably studied all of that shit like when this game.
It is nuts how on point some of the things this guy fucking like nailed to the wall way ahead of time.
Yeah, so like that's kind of terrifying, right? Like when this dude's talking about this like basically sci-fi shit of like, oh yeah, any person could just find this nuclear material or whatever. It goes missing all the time. It's like that's probably actually like legitimate, you know? It's kind of fucked up. Oh, but and then our beloved DARPA chief has a heart attack.
Yes, he does.
As one is to do.
Question.
And then one of my favorite scenes in the entire, or favorite like sequences in the entire game.
Johnny's Sasaki?
No, the shootout, the hallway shootout. I am a huge fan of like, so you get out of the cell, you're introduced to Meryl, you have a little Mexican standoff there, and then
you got rookie eyes, Eric.
And then you have your first like full on like shootout with guards, and it's I found Kayla did a fantastic job, by the way. I thought she really took that on, because the aiming isn't great, right? Like when you got the pistol.
Don't even touch it. Just don't even touch the aim.
Just let it line up. Boom.
Yeah.
The fact that like you hold down square to aim, to like raise the pistol and then release to fire is one of the. It's a very odd mechanic, you know. So certainly not like normal, but just a really cool sequence. Like because up until that point you're kind of underpowered or whatever else. Shooting's probably not your go-to. It's it's stealth up until that point, and then you just have like a little shooting gallery there. And I think
line them up, knock them down.
It's a good way to like it's action, there's still action in the game, and it's still like it's a good introduction to that aspect.
Oh boy, is there action.
Yeah.
This is where I'm like, oh, this game is slighter than I thought, gameplay wise. Like, because I'm already to this part, and when the original time I played it, I was getting lost all the time and never knowing where to go. And when you can come back to this game and know, like, okay, go to basement 1 first, then go to basement 2.
Yep.
It's just been like really a breeze. Like I feel like I'm doing a speed run through the game.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel? Like, just did you get to that part relatively quickly and just kind of have that same kind of feeling?
Some weird muscle memory, muscle memory type of thing going on. Like you just start moving down the hallways. You're like, oh, and we got to go this way and downstairs and over
gotta
here.
Climb that ladder. Gotta crawl through the vents.
It does for like a non-modern game. Like at the time, I definitely felt exactly the same way as you, Mike. At playing it 20 years ago. A lot of getting lost, a lot of like redoing stuff, not knowing exactly where to go. But I think it does a pretty good job of like signposting and like telling you like through the conversations that you're having with these characters and stuff. And even just like, I guess it's 30 years of playing video games and kind of knowing like, okay, I've got to clear this area, then I'm going to go to this area and clear it and stuff. Like, I think Kayla, first timer, she's got no muscle memory of this game or these locations, but she's been able to like say, okay, well, I know I need to, like, they mentioned finding painted walls or whatever else. I got to go find something. And then that was like we kind of puzzled it out together of like what that actually meant, like where to find that necessarily. But I feel like the game has done a good job. Like, are you in the same boat, Kayla? Have you felt like, oh, you kind of knew you needed to change levels here or whatever else, or go to a different,
Yeah, the level part, sure, but there is a lot of guidance that you've given me.
Okay.
I'm about to say, going in blind, there's a few things in this game that like, okay, so just not to talk too forward ahead, but like the controller switch thing, that was told to me as I was handed the game to be borrowed. So I was like, right. So that thing was taken away from me like right out the rip. So I don't know what it feels like to get my ass handed by, fucking.
Oh, I certainly remember that feeling.
I also remember that feeling.
But there's the finding the hidden codex number thing later on. That I fucking I literally want every single fucking codex number.
Frequency.
We're at that part right now. Like after the boss fight, she's like, "Hey, give me a call." Kind of thing.
And you're like, "Oh, what?"
You talk to her uncle, Colonel Campbell, and he's like, "Look, I'm back with the game case, Snake."
No. I think it's fucking okay. So we did jump the gun a little bit ahead because I think you get it after the Ocelot fight.
You're right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we are on the Ocelot fight.
Baker.
Yeah, because you guys were talking about the painted walls.
That's right. Yeah. So you have to blow up some painted walls or unpainted walls with C4, and that's another cool thing how the game uses like the 3D nature of the game, the fact that you have walls that you can like go up against or place C4 onto walls.
It's old shit too, man. Metal Gear 1 did that shit.
Yeah.
Punching the walls sounds different. It'll put like a little exclamation point, or like even I think in Metal Gear 2, it makes a different sound when you're hitting a certain type of wall that's blow upable.
And then there's another. Really cool.
There's
Metal
another
Gear
part.
2 is like beyond.
It's fucking nuts.
What it should be.
It's
crazy.
Okay, so instead of looking on the jewel case to find the codex number, motherfuckers tapping it in Morse code.
Yeah.
So you have to know Morse
on the
code.
wall, and you have to fucking listen. Yes, shit's nuts. It's like finding all the Reggies in Pokemon Emerald.
Espionage, hell yeah, you're right.
Insane. But I found that really. I think that is really cool. I think it holds up in a really good way of like. Okay, the walls have different, painted versus unpainted, and being able to like stick C4 on a wall or knock on a wall or that kind of thing. I think that kind of stuff really holds up, and apparently wasn't as revolutionary as I thought, but still really really cool. I like those.
In the West, it was cool. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Shalashaska.
Ocelot, yeah, that first fight, your first boss battle, Kayla.
More than enough rounds to kill anything that breathes.
I think you only died the one time, and you didn't die. You went for the ammo that was like right next to the wire, and
trip the wires. Yeah, we all do that. That's okay. We've all.
I needed it quickly, man. I need it now.
Yeah.
But cool little fight. I love that room that it's just like a big square, and you're like Ring Around the Rosie with Ocelot. And
I also shot dude a couple times too, trying to shoot him through. I was like, I'll stop here and hit you. And
that was a
good
that
one.
Guy. It was like she lined up the shot perfect. Like, oh, this is gonna. If Baker wasn't there, man, this would have totally Ocelot. And he makes so much noise too. Like,
goes flying.
So good.
I'm alive again.
And I think you can only do that like twice. It's got a tiny little life bar. The
Baker
guy. Yeah,
I ran out of ammo at one point.
Oh, and so did I. They respawned.
I'm gonna use C4.
Oh,
and that worked. It worked because I placed it pretty far away.
The corner, yeah.
And it didn't trigger the C4 in the center of the level.
Okay.
But then I had to switch to grenades.
Oh no!
Hey,
Hey, Mike, you're living my same life, buddy. Because I made that mistake my very first time playing. I was like, "Oh fuck this guy! I was just gonna throw a grenade," and then it was like,
Oh.
Did any of you guys remember that you can hold your gun and move if you hold a right button combination?
No. I know that like the gun doesn't fire until you release. I know that much.
So if you hold like square and triangle, like if you pull your gun out and then hold triangle, you can move while having your gun out and release and fire. And if you can do that in this fight, it makes the fight a cakewalk, basically.
Yeah, you just chase him.
I could not figure it out. So basically, on my GameCube layout,
my God,
I have to claw it to do that. I have to hold Y and B.
Oh my God!
And it's really
that sounds awful.
Just drop the aesthetic, Mike. Go back to the regular Joy-Cons.
So Konami
I had to get
figured
twin
it out.
stakes in somehow.
So Konami figured it out in '98 how you could do that, but Capcom couldn't figure it out in 2006 or whatever for
didn't need it. Didn't need it
for Resident Evil 4.
Stop and pop, baby.
Yep.
Right.
Done.
Sure.
Yeah, look, man, you didn't need Leon to be that overpowered.
He just is.
Look, man, tell me you didn't go like after the fourth run of that game, you didn't go damageless through that fucking town.
But so after you beat Ocelot, which we all did,
Shalashaska.
So we're introduced to two of the coolest characters, Revolver Ocelot and Cyborg Ninja in this. And
there's some bad to that guy.
I just seeing that hand get sliced off, like
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think Kayla was like, "Oh shit!" Like it was like, "Oh wow."
And Ocelot lets out just his gruff, like it's like George Lucas having the whole Star Wars thing planned out from Episode 4. It makes me think that Kojima had the whole like just stuff going on. I won't spoil anything with Ocelot, where his voice kind of like he goes like he's like a little whiny, he's really whiny in that. And it's like, there's Ocelot, you're not Clint Eastwood, bro.
I literally I had an hour conversation about, because Tony just started playing Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, I had this conversation about like, okay, so in the West, we got Metal Gear Solid, we got Metal Gear 1, and then we got some fucking weird spinoff. So I go through this whole like, how it's like, okay, so this is where we started, and then at this part, it goes back to here, it's like, cart in front of the horse kind of analogy. So I had like this hour conversation about this series, and I'm like questioning myself, like, did Kojima do it out of order to fill some of those gaps in his story? Because we all played Metal Gear Solid 5 except for Kayla, I'd imagine.
She watched me play it when I played
it. That one I did watch.
Yeah. That's actually been her first introduction to the Metal Gear series was 5.
But given how massive this franchise is and how big this story is, like I said, I don't want to dip into like Metal Gear Solid 2, and I know it came like right afterwards, but like, playing these games back to back, like, because it was such a disconnect when I played the first one, and then part 2 came out. There was a gap there, and I didn't play part 1 again to get myself ready for part 2. And holy shit, man, playing this game right after the other one right now. I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, I'm seeing it all now. Like,
right.
Fucking.
It was on a whim, right before we started playing this game, I was like, I wonder. So I just searched like on YouTube or whatever else, because Kayla knows there's like a weird, that this has a weird timeline and nothing makes sense because we've made that joke a million times.
It makes all the sense, Eric.
And I just looked up, and the first video that comes up, I was like, oh, I bet you there's a quick like
lore dump.
Like lore dump of the timeline or whatever. What was it, like
8 hours?
8 hours or something?
Yeah.
8 hours.
Like, you need no less than 8 hours to understand the lore of Metal
Hey man,
Gear.
Then
it took me 8.5 hours.
There's no guarantee that you're going to understand it.
You're probably not going to. I've been playing this franchise for 20 years now, and there's still some parts that are blurry for me.
I think what I found with all of these games that it takes multiple playthroughs for me
it does.
personally to really wrap my head around every little piece of jargon and every character name that's dropped, every kind of hint of, oh, I used to know you, we did this kind of thing. It's just like a deep a tangled web.
It's a big web, man.
And I actually wrote that in my notes, like, because after the Ocelot fight, there's a huge exposition dump. Like Baker gives
Baker
you
goes off.
a lot.
Metal
There's like a
here.
20-minute conversation, basically. Yeah, on Muff. Yeah, I didn't write it down, but I'm glad you said that. They lose a lot of Muff every year.
I can't believe those bastards went through with it.
He starts like hitting Snake at one point. Snake's not phased at all. He's killing machine.
I think one thing they do really well with the character models, as like low poly as they are, I think it still does such a good job of like he's all fucked up. Like Baker's gone through some torture and stuff, right?
Yep.
And you can kind of tell, like even though it's like
pretty fucked up.
Yeah, like a low poly kind of character model. It's still like, man, that dude looks fucked up. Like
he brought up an interesting thing during that when he's explaining his torture that I never really caught before. He says he has brain implants.
Yes.
So that none of his secret code information can get stolen by psychic terrorists. Like how often? Like what?
There's
how often? But that's put in there purposely. Psychic terrorists.
Nothing.
Well, they know that they're there.
Nothing's wasted, man, because you find out why that line is important later on.
Yeah. And what's funny is like that's a plot point in Inception as well. Like there's literally like a whole plot line in the movie Inception.
Metal Gear did it
later,
first.
Like of like having implants and blocking you from psychic interruptions and stuff. And it's really impressive stuff.
I just want to do one quick little interjection.
Yeah.
So Tony is texting me right now. So he's playing Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny. He's been using so he's not great at it right now. So he's having my first playthrough, essentially.
No one is great at that game.
But this has to be the first time I heard somebody who actually uses the cyanide pill to quick restart himself.
Oh my gosh. Man, that's metal.
I just thought that was funny. He finally just got to the actual beginning of the game. That's what he's telling me.
Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome.
The virtual mission.
I don't think.
Perhaps I've said too much.
I don't think I remembered in past playthroughs of like the capacity increases after every like boss fight.
Yeah.
Like you get more capacity for grenades or ammo and stuff. Like I remember the health always like going up a little bit after every fight. That's like a core memory. But yeah, it was cool to see like, oh, okay, now we've got 40 rounds of handgun ammo instead of 20.
How did you manage to sneak all that ammo in, Snake? in my stomach.
We glanced over it, but Snake shits out a pack of cigarettes at some point, right? Like,
I think he vomits them out. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Either way, not an easy feat, man. It's a whole pack of cigarettes.
Hey.
God,
he's got a big mouth, big pretty mouth.
Even if you scrunch that up, that's gotta suck. Coming out of either.
It's already wrapped in cellophane.
True. But
I would put him in like something circular, like a pill bottle or something, as opposed to just like the square pack. That ain't great. A rectangular pack.
Where were we again? Oh yeah, Arms Tech. Baker.
Yeah, the big exposition dump from Baker, and it's another one of those like not everything's adding up here moments. Like what's going on here? There's some
recognizes the tech on that cyber ninja.
Yeah.
Exoskeleton.
and he points us to another major character, the designer of Metal Gear Rex himself, Hal Emmerich.
Yeah. So now it becomes a race to go find Hal, Mr. Emmerich.
Hal Emmerich.
Is the next section the Nikita missile?
Well, we need to get a hold of Meryl.
Right.
Now.
Meryl. Oh, and then you got to fight a tank.
Open the door for us. Yes. And this is where we've gotten I think a level 2 card by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And this is where you can kind of go back and get some stuff that
I think you can get the mine detector because
yeah,
you're about to fight a tank in a minefield. So if you don't double back, the game's nice. It gives you a little hint, Yeah. You get a secret call from Deep Throat.
Yeah, I forgot about Deep Throat, and I'm actually not my memory is still who the fuck is Deep Throat? So don't spoil it for me. I remember it gets explained, but that
whistleblower from the Watergate scandal,
right? Yeah. Don't worry about that.
Before you get to the minefield, I remember my original playthrough. This is where I got stuck on probably the longest, is that infrared laser section. And it keeps triggering gas. And it took me the longest to figure out how to see the lasers.
Hideo Kojima taught me why smoking cigarettes is so cool. Literally.
Saves your life.
Absolutely. Don't listen to the Surgeon General, guys.
But yeah, I think Kayla.
Sponsor us, Marvel.
So you see these infrared lasers, and they're going at different speeds.
Oh my God,
Snake, while he's crawling, can spin like clock hand. He just spins on his pelvis is where he pivots. It's really weird how he moves in a crawl position.
Pelvis pivot is the name of this episode.
Yeah. And it's really difficult to navigate those fucking laser beams. You have to go across and then go perpendicular or parallel.
You're jumping ahead though. That's when you're getting the other shit later on. This one, it's just up and down when you're going through the hangar.
Right, and it sucks. They're moving at different speeds.
Well, I can't see where they are past each other. I can't.
The throttle on your movement fucks with you really hard on this part too. Yeah. You tap the D-pad a little too hard, and you're fucking. I'm going past 2 laser things at once.
And if you mess up, there's no getting out of the room, and you just suffocate.
I just talked to Colonel as I die. I'm
very, very frustrating part of the game.
Colonel, get me out of here! Nah, you're dead.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do.
Sorry, bro.
Speaking of dying, I love the different. So there's, depending on where you're at, there's so many different calls that come through the codec. When you die, sometimes sometimes it's Mei Ling, sometimes it's Colonel Campbell. Mm-hmm. If you do like Kayla and reach a little too far to get the ammo pack during the Ocelot fight. Ocelot's you idiot!
Yeah, I got that too.
Good. It's so good, but
I don't even want to fight you anymore. It sucks.
Depending on how you die, you get a kind of a different.
And, fucking time paradox before it happened.
There's so many iconic. I'll still in my head on a daily basis just Snake. That's just an iconic thing that I just say to myself. I love that, and we did the gas. We hit the gas at once.
I think everybody got gassed out at some point. I think I got gassed at least 3 times.
Yeah, and you have to remember to unequip your rations because you'll just you slow your death down. It's I just want to die.
Snakes just throwing up, eating rations.
Oh, it's good stuff. The auto heal by equipping rations. We didn't mention that. It's a really cool mechanic. I like that. It forces you to switch between having your key card maybe in your hand and your rations.
The game is full of little things like that to figure out, that it won't tell you. Like,
Nope.
you can use R1 or L1 to reload things much faster. You can just like unequip, requip, and
I use that so much.
I learned that with the sniper at the where we stopped.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, let's go.
Too far.
Right.
We're in
gotta fight.
Far, yes.
Minefield.
We gotta
tank
fight a
battle.
shaman.
We meet Vulcan Raven, one of the coolest characters, I think, and he's amongst my favorite Foxhound members. I think he's gigantic. He needs to be Dave Bautista in the movie. We'll have that conversation, I think, when we're all done. I want Kayla to cast the entire movie when we're done.
I'm gonna do it by myself. I want to have a conversation.
We'll have a conversation. I mean, we're gonna tell you if you're wrong. You know,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
If you pick the wrong casting,
I want to hear everybody's.
All right, I'll start doing homework.
But yeah, so you have to fight a tank, which is,
pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Kayla barrel directed. I will say I directed her very poorly during this
sounds right
battle, and she did way better than she had any right to, because she barreled ahead, got blasted by the tank a couple times.
All right,
and too late, like halfway, she's already
on it. He told me, so I'm like, all right, trucking.
She's already like there by the time I'm like, oh yeah, there's like different elevations, and you can kind of like hide behind the ridges, and not take a tank bullet to the face. But
or you could use chaff grenades.
Oh, see, I don't even know if I knew to use chaff there.
Because at the beginning they're inside the tank, so they have to use the sensors to try to lock onto you. So you can block their shit by using chaff grenades. So you can literally like get up next to the tank like scot-free if you just fucking chuck it.
To me, this fight is like fighting a Hammer Bro from Mario, the original. You need to just get right up in the grill
I did.
And just avoid when it pivots or whatever. Like, just don't stay on its ass because it will back over you.
Oh god, yeah. I didn't this time, but I have in the past gotten run over.
I got ran over a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think you lost once though. I don't think you fully died in that fight, which was really, really impressive.
I had my rations equipped.
Yeah, and I see that's a great illustration, Tomas, that you can like use chaff and stuff. Like we've already
your best friend
several times throughout the game. It gives you so many different opportunities to attack these enemies or the like puzzles, if you will, like in different ways. Like
I guarantee you will not beat this game without them.
It's wild because the first infiltration you got multiple options on how to get in. Ocelot, apparently you can use C4 in that fight or whatever else. Wouldn't have thought to do that at all. Chaff grenades against the tank.
They're your best friend.
I think Mike said he does the same as what Kayla did, with just barrel in and throw some grenades up in.
Get right in that. Just get up to it. Just get in there.
Just get up in them guts.
I never gave that tank a chance to blast me with the actual turret, like missile turret part. So
way smarter than me.
Or like using the cigarettes versus using the thermal scope in the the infrared laser wall. Like I
don't think you have access to the thermal shit.
I used it for that part. It was in one of the rooms in.
Okay, I think I picked it up later then
or whatever. Yeah.
I think smoking's cool, so
it's just cool. It's just awesome that it gives you all those different options. But yeah, the tank. It's not the last we'll see of Raven. He radios in to home base. It was all a test, right? Like he knew Snake was gonna win there. That's why he shot him in the face with this.
Yes.
Yeah, he's radioing to the boss, Liquid Snake. Very cool. Like, this is where you get you've already gotten a taste for the supernatural elements of it, but this is a little more where he's just like has command over these ravens and he's tattooing ravens all over.
The raven hunts in the night.
The future.
The raven hunts.
He's like
raven
a
on my
bear
head
in a way.
says he's gonna
Thirst for his blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's cool.
The Sioux Indian Sioux means snake.
It doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about, but I thought it sounded really cool.
Yeah, I made a very convoluted fucking Raven post earlier.
Yes, you did. So now we're on Nikita missiles, right? What are the cool?
Oh,
We're in like the nuclear storage,
Nuclear storage.
place, and we get a quick codec call saying you cannot use your weapons here.
Yep. Naomi locked you out with nanotech.
Yeah, don't do it, you idiot.
Yeah, don't shoot the warheads.
And it's kind of like the game saying, "Yeah, we've had a little action, but now let's kick it back. Let's
reel it back, baby.
No more weapons for a while."
Calm down over there.
Yeah, and you're
Forget
super
about
loaded
it.
up at that point too. As long as you didn't use up everything in the tank fight or whatever else. You got grenades, you got claymores, you got
everything.
Yeah.
You get a machine gun at this point.
Yeah.
Yep. You got a FAMAS.
Cardboard
you got
box.
Thomas.
And you can't use a single one of them.
Nope.
I used the cardboard box a ton when I played this game originally.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I loved using it. I thought it was the coolest thing. Another just kind of iconic symbol that this franchise has many. But yeah, just Snake in a cardboard box is ingrained in my
one
brain.
of Snake's smash entrances is literally coming out from underneath the box.
So. Yeah. One of the best trailers of all time. Is that Smash Brothers Brawl Snake trailer, and haven't used it a single time.
Neither have I. I didn't use it at all.
Kayla?
Box, not yet.
No. So we did something interesting that I don't remember. It had to have been a part of the game when it came out because there's no changes really in the Master Collection. But on the second floor of the nuclear disposal area or whatever else, there's a guard, and the attempt was to choke him out. But if you're facing them, you do like the shoulder toss or whatever else, and he shoulder tossed off the top to the bottom, like over. He went over the railing.
Oh wow!
Is that a glitch, or can you do that? Is that like
by the elevator, that second tier?
Right by the elevator.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen that happen before. And
cool.
It just had he fell to the ground, and it worked out really well because then he couldn't see us, and then we went right into the elevator because he was a floor down. It was
Did he just wake up with the same huh?
Yeah, yes,
kind of thing. Oh wow, that's funny.
I was telling Kayla, I was like, I don't think that was in the game. I don't know.
I don't know.
It was wild.
I did learn something new in that area too. I didn't know you can outrun the gas. Like if you get out of warning and out of caution, the gas stops in that area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The one time I got caught, I was like, well, let me get out of caution, hide behind some shit. And, I had like 4 rations. I was like, I could probably wait this out. And sure enough, down to 1 ration after throwing up everywhere. And fucking
what a cool game.
I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going in the elevator, guys.
Oh, that's wild. No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So we are on the trail to Hal Emmerich.
Okay, so we need Nikita missiles.
Yeah, and this is it was so great once I got to this area because I remembered it from before and being like, oh man, I always used to love this area. I think I actually used to hate it because you're on a ticking, there's gas, there's electricity, you're on kind of a ticking clock because your air's going down. And you have to fire a missile down a hallway, a remote controlled missile, and guide it. And if you're controlling it, it goes at a slow pace.
Really
but if you stop controlling it, it flies. It almost passes your visible screen. It'll go past the screen that you can visualize, and it'll just hit a wall or whatever else.
Yep.
And you only have so many, and you can, and you after you're gonna fucking suffocate if you don't.
And guess where the gas mask is?
Oh, in there, right?
Electrical field.
Yeah. Right. But it's just a cool like extra mechanic built into one of the weapons. That like is
it's a scene out of a movie. It shouldn't be in a video game. This weird thing, Mario never had to do this. Like, shoot a remote controlled missile to blow up a panel 4 rooms away. Like,
there's a balance too, because like Eric said, if you can guide it and it goes slow, but like there's also a timer on the motherfucker. So even if you're like real sneaky and you go past all the cameras, it will just fucking blow up automatically. So it's like you got to be a little skirt the razor's edge a little bit.
And the slower you are, the cameras are going to shoot it.
Oh, yeah, cameras will get you.
They're so good at shooting those fucking
missiles. Yeah, they're very good at it. It's like they were trained for it.
It was like riding a bike for me. I knew where to turn.
Hug the wall.
At the T in the hallway. I knew I had to hug that wall to avoid all those cameras. And then the hard part is banking left, getting through that small room.
Through the small door,
the machine.
I can literally see it as you're talking about it, Mike.
It's so weird.
We get another call from Deep Throat. He's the one that warns us about the floor here.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And once we get all past that, you can go. You can go. There's some doors you can open. You can get new things. I think you can get like the night vision goggles here.
You get the gas mask too.
The gas mask.
The gas mask proper after getting gassed out twice.
Right. Which is another weird thing because you're kind of juggling your key cards, you're juggling gas masks, you're juggling weapons.
And that never changed throughout the series.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You can't carry a key card or a gas mask at the same time.
So our inspirations are Michael Bay, John Woo, Mario 64 camera, and the inventory from Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. You can only carry two things
at the same time.
And the funniest thing about the key cards specifically is there's a bit of exposition. I think it might be Baker or someone tells you that these are special key cards that use the salts in your body to like open doors without having to actually put the key card in. So why the fuck do you have to equip the key card
on it? A whole spiel on how this thing works.
It's so stupid.
Where is he keeping these cards?
Also in his ass. Also, everything.
In his stomach. His stomach.
Yeah, because Snake gets a shot that lowers the acidity level of his
stomach. Yeah. There's something about a peptide solution.
Everything is explained.
It's true.
Ad nauseum.
In excruciating detail.
This series, for sure. They don't and no stone is unturned.
No, sir. I can't argue any of this.
You think he's just holding on to Nikita missiles? No, they're in his stomach.
They're in.
I kind of love seeing illustrations of that sometimes, where I've seen like Snake or something, and him having like 72 different guns on his back. He's got a missile launcher, or an assault rifle and stuff. People make some really good fan art.
Breath of the Wild. Link's just got a fucking backpack full of shit on his back.
But so after the awesome Nikita scene, you disarm the laser or the electrical walls. You get your items there. A lot of items to get there. And then you go through the hallway of death. And I think this is one of the things that like not a lot of people talk about. In like whether it's the Metal Gear series or like Death Stranding or something, I think like Hideo Kojima is a like underappreciated like horror master. Like I think
there's a fucking director.
There's like just certain scenes in like all the Metal Gear games, and Death Stranding and he was gonna do Silent Hills, that are just like really horrific, like really scary and like tense and stuff. And I think this hallway of massacred soldiers, and then you get to the end and see very much Predator-esque, like a stealth figure that you can make out, like just holding a dude.
That guy's still alive. That guy's still alive until after the fight. That motherfucker's still a red dot on your codex.
Right. And it's just like
bleeding out for hours.
I didn't know I was playing a horror game all of a sudden. Like it's as scary as anything in a Resident Evil or something of that time.
I did not want to follow.
Right.
The first time I played this game, I did not want to go through that door. It was like, why the fuck would I follow you, man? It's like
I'm glad you brought you very well said, Eric, but it's something that Twin Snakes gets very wrong. Where this is post 2000, that scene becomes the Matrix scene where you get to see all of the carnage unfold. Actually, you get to see Cyborg Ninja flips and stuff and kill all those people in the hallway, and it just kind of
diminishes.
At the time, I thought it was very cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad per se, but it's
cool,
just,
but it's different.
It's so different than the horror vibes that you get.
Unknown is scarier than the known.
Yeah,
a lot of
right.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other big takeaway from that scene is the ambient sound of your footsteps. Like for some reason, it's louder in that hallway than any other hallway you've been in.
Oh man, got it.
Yeah, the game takes the score away from you at certain points and knows what it's doing with sound. And just probably my favorite part of this whole first playthrough is that part.
I'm glad you brought up the Twin Snakes thing. That made me happy. Because I was like, no, I definitely remember playing Twin Snakes because it had that cutscene, and I remember going like, oh, it's cool that I saw it, but like now I'm like, I'll just kill a guy, I guess, because it's a guy. I don't know.
Yeah, right. He's
like before, you're like, you just fought a dude in a tank who talked to ravens, so you're like, what am I about to fight now? Like, what's the craziest thing I'm about to fight next?
And so after the hallway of death, we're introduced to Dr. Hal Emmerich for the first time, but not the last time someone will pee themselves in the Metal Gear
running
series.
theme.
Spoiler.
Sorry for spoiling.
Kojima loves pee-pee jokes.
He does. He really
just
does.
warning you.
Yes, he does. Hal's a puddle on the floor in more than one way, and he's being stalked by the cyborg ninja who we've met. The battle's pretty cool. It takes place in 3 different kind of sections, phases. Yeah, good call on that. And you only died once in this one, Kayla, I want to say, maybe?
I think twice.
Twice? Okay, yeah.
How much guiding did you give her?
I gave her the wrong advice, honestly. I did not...
Shoot him!
The first time, I was the longest fight ever. I used all kinds of stuff.
Fucking C4.
And I found out I should just punch the motherfucker.
There you go.
Yeah,
there it is.
I forgot that like he wants you to do the hand to hand like right from the get go, and I was because it was kind of working because like she would throw a chaff grenade and he that fucks him up. He like gets like stunned and you can shoot him, but it does very little damage. Like punches do more.
Then
damage.
He comes back.
And and
I think I want to say, I think this is a part where great storytelling goes a lot further than actual gameplay, because this is... Okay, so at the end of this fight, it's Gray Fox. But, you fought him in hand-to-hand combat in a landmine field at one point in your career of being the best soldier on the planet. And, man, the story... It's awesome. Happens in Metal Gear 2. Not as exhilarating in 2D, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But like this idea of like with the music in the background, you're talking about like the story of this person you knew. And they go into it in greater detail and shit. But like, this game does a really good job of like jazzing up that whole like back history between him and Gray Fox. And
it reminds me of the George Lucas thing again, where the technology had to catch up. Oh, very cool. D has a very awesome
really
snake figure, translucent.
Stealth snake, yeah.
Yeah. But just knowing like, okay, I have this really cool game in Metal Gear 2, but I can't make it what I really want to be. And he remixes a lot of that stuff in a new cool way with the new 3D technology on the PlayStation. And it's just a really cool fight. And he keeps the eeriness still there. You're hearing the whoosh, 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 all the whispering stuff. And you're like, oh man, is this what poor Ninja hears in his head? This guy's going insane. He's demanding you to whip his ass. Yeah. And
he's so creepy. His
and
voice is terrifying.
Yeah, and the different phases, you have to play hide and seek with him at a certain point, and he'll just run out of nowhere and become visible and deck the shit out of you and take half your
man, God, that punch. That punch hurt, but
the environment too is like destructible. Like there's elements like he'll break through glass, they'll knock like papers off of the desks.
He can jump all over the place.
Oh yeah, he's very mobile.
Yeah,
really
mobile suit
his kind of moveset is basically what I don't want to speak too far ahead, but it's just so
come back into.
Oh man, it's just like it leads into like oh man, like
Yeah, maybe there will be samurai swords and cartwheels in the future potentially.
There's a lot.
It really
while holding your nuts.
Sets a tone. it really sets like this like difference between like. Okay, well, like, you're Snake, you're the best mercenary ever, and then it's like, but also cyborg ninjas exist.
That's true. They're here.
You're just a soldier, right?
And I would never know this, but, we see a poster on the wall for, like, something called Police Knots.
Police Knots.
And I never knew what, like, Snatcher was, but Kojima's basically been doing, like, Blade Runner-y, mixing, noir with sci-fi for a long time, and he keeps it up with this one for sure.
And
I've got a little aside on Police Knots. After we're done with the cyborg ninja
knots.
I think of that every time. By the way, that's a great call, Tomas, because I think of that every time. But the battle is awesome. You don't kill the cyborg ninja. He gets away.
Nope.
He just wanted to feel some pain, and you gave him the pain. And then you get to have a conversation with Hal Emmerich, the guy the designer of Metal Gear. You get now kind of like the full breakdown and exposition of like what you're up against, what Metal Gear Rex. It's got a railgun and it shoots missiles and it's got whatever
bipedal.
He says. Yeah, it's bipedal and it's got machine guns and all kinds of stuff, and also can shoot nuclear missiles. But like. It's just another moment.
But he didn't know that,
right? And it's another moment of like the stories kind of not like coming together. It's like what Campbell's saying, what Baker is saying, what Hal Emmerich is saying, and what like Snake has been told are all kind of different things. And who are you to like believe what is actually going on here? And it's just another nice set of foreboding. But in that conversation,
boy, howdy.
It does one of the coolest things, it's intercut. I think in the Baker conversation there were some intercuts of like the Hiroshima bombing or something, or like nuclear kind of stuff, and it does that again
nuclear
in
conflicts,
this. Right, and because Hal Emmerich tells you that like his grandfather was part of the Manhattan Project. His father was born on the day they dropped the bomb in Hiroshima, and it shows some of that footage and stuff, but. While the game's playing, while he's having this conversation, and it's just mind blowing to see this like archival footage, and then it shows this anime. It shows Police Knots, or like I guess probably scenes
a cut scene from
it, from the game. And I did a little searching on Police Knots. You mentioned it earlier, Mike. It was in development. it was coming out right at the time that Kojima was developing this game, and Meryl, the character in Metal Gear, is a character in Police Knots as well.
Hell yeah.
Which is weird. I had no idea, but it's it's a I guess it's like a walking sim type game, or like a choose your like an adventure type game. The gameplay is that style, but it was just kind of interesting, and I guess that the Meryl character, I guess that game didn't do very well. So they just like repurposed the Meryl character, and it was like, we have to get her in a game that does well. Let's see if she works in Metal Gear.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
It's pretty cool. It's same name and same like character, I guess.
I always just assumed Police Knots is just Space Police, so I think that's what that game is about. Just to go back to Cyborg Ninja, before we move on, the coolest design ever. Yoji Shinkawa, the artist for all of the Metal Gear games, just amazing, amazing work. His concepts, his designs have shaped this franchise, and it's just as important to me than the story or the gameplay or the sneaking stuff is
the fucking concept art for this series is
unbelievable stuff.
Oh, the coolest.
Gorgeous stuff. It'd be a dream come true to own like an original piece of
shit.
So.
You're making this very easy for me, Mike, because I have a little snippet about Yoji Shinkawa pulled up right on my other monitor here, and it says the characters and mecha designs were made by artist Yoji Shinkawa based on Kojima's concept. According to Shinkawa, Solid Snake's physique in this particular installment was based on Jean-Claude Van Damme. While his facial appearance was based on Christopher Walken.
God!
Let's go!
What a double dipped cream dream extreme right there.
If you've seen Deer Hunter and you know that Russian roulette scene with Walken with the bandana, that makes a lot of sense.
Holy shit!
Yeah. And now Tomas is channeling that in his look. Right?
Well, I got to talk like this for the rest of the podcast. Shake my head furiously.
It also says the ninja's cloaking effect is the result of a bug. Wow! They just kept it in there. So
wow,
amazing stuff. Wow,
game development. That's fucking cool. Oh, the lore.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Just pour the lore all over me.
You mentioned the this is going way back, but you mentioned that graphic novel that comes in the Master Collection, the digital novel or whatever else. We started watching about the first 15 minutes of that, and it's really fucking cool. I'm gonna check it. Mm-hmm. I'm checking the rest of it out. I'm excited also because I think there's a digital novel for all three games, and that's really exciting. There's also the original scripts. In the Master Collection as well.
Started going through some,
which are pretty cool. I'm happy with I know it's gotten some middling kind of reviews, but I'm pretty happy with the package so far. I
mean, what the fuck do people want, man? It's a fucking reprint.
I definitely want to cut some corners, also, but
I'm playing Metal Gear, baby.
I remember the original game gives you basically the synopsis of 1 and 2 in there. Did you guys ever read those back in the day when you played this?
Oh, well, I don't think I did.
After I finished the game, I wanted everything I could get out of this game. And I remember reading all of those. It also gives you like a weird novel that's not from Naomi's perspective, like in the room, like when certain things happen later, and it's just such a weird perspective. And I really want to go back and reread all that stuff before we finish up part 2. But moving on.
Yeah.
All right, Cyborg Ninja down. Japanimation. Damn.
Another really good like kind of exposition dump and get you now. Hal will go forever by Otacon. He wants you to call him Otacon, which is short for Otaku Convention. Which is
my God.
like a weird choice to be like. I want to be called. It's like me saying I really from now on. Could you please call me C2E2, please? Like I would like to be known as C2E2.
That sounds kind of sick, though.
New York Comic Con.
That was not as bad.
Yes.
Not San Diego. I am New York.
Right. It's good stuff. But
Hal also learns that he built something that he didn't know was going to be used for what it's going to be used for. Evidently, he has no idea that it has nuclear capabilities on it. Apparently,
which, if you've seen the movie Oppenheimer this year, it's very interesting how much it mirrors that. That whole conversation.
I also thought that. Yeah. We get some talk. His grandfather worked on the Manhattan Project.
There's some tech that they introduce in this game that is fucking horrifying. Like,
oh yeah,
when they start breaking down what Metal Gear can actually do with what it has.
And I think it's, like I said earlier, like with Hideo Kojima being such like a nerd for like futuristic tech or like near future tech and stuff, it's like, it seems like probably all of this is at least like plausible stuff or things that like the military is working on or has worked on or probably like has access to in a lot of ways,
Costradamus, man, that's what he.
Yep. Oh man, Kojima knew it all. Well, I don't want to spoil other stuff, but I was gonna say he was a certain entity.
So, the next big section. You get to go back. You get the new key card, right? Like you get like level 4, level 5 at this point. So you can get through some doors you couldn't get through before. Get some new items, but it's all leading to the next big kind of boss battle.
We have to meet up with Meryl first.
Right.
It's leading up to Meryl's sweet can.
I want to know how Kayla felt about this part.
Yes, Kayla, could you talk for about 3 hours on this, please?
It was weird.
Wait.
So Otacon gives us a clue as to how to find her. He's like, I remember that there was weird music playing, and you're gonna have to find her somewhere isolated, like somewhere private.
Somewhere only she can go. Yeah.
Come on, put it together.
It is cool when you like, even if you didn't put it together in that moment, there is an opportunity to, when you're back in that it's like a conference room kind of area where she's dressed as a guard and she's like doing her rounds or whatever else. And if you go into a room, just any of those rooms that you have access to, and look at your radar, you'll see her reticule on the radar, like moving out of the area and going into the women's restroom, right? So if you were paying attention and you didn't get it ahead of time, you're like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about. It is.
There are many obvious things that this is a woman, like many.
Right.
They give you a lot of sexist options to go down. To
a lot of close things on her butt jiggle and how exactly she walks.
Right.
Yes.
First case of three-dimensional
and discussion about how she walks.
Yes.
And then exact angles of her hips.
Yeah.
And then after
she had a cute behind.
These are all lines from the game, guys. These are all actual lines.
Yes, and then eventually you get an even better look at it because you've tried to chase her into the bathroom. And you see her guard uniform splayed out on a toilet, and she has the jump on you in her panties.
I don't remember her being pantsless in that scene. It's so wild. It was like, whoa, what is going on here?
Hey.
If the game hadn't been kind of creepy up until that point, it would have been fine. Like, yeah, she had to take off her uniform or whatever. I guess she had to take it off. And she wanted to be in her normal clothes, and she was, you snuck up on her and everything else. Like, it's fine. The context of the scene is okay, but like everything leading up to it is what really makes all the
conversations that they have both before, during, and after.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
You ain't wrong.
I ain't hanging out with
I just wrote thirsty ass snake. You guys probably can't see it, but big letters on my notes here. Just thirsty ass snake.
Listen, as a junior mint vendor, it's just, he was using the clues that he had at the time. That's all.
There you go.
And you get a merit badge for that one, soldier. Good job.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag
those are the clues.
Hashtag not all snakes.
I had to skip that cutscene because I forgot about it as well, and I was just like, "Oh, lady in her panties. Let's just move on. I don't want to see this and ask me questions.
Don't even risk it.
Too many questions that don't need to be answered right now."
And it sucks too because there's some really good, like Meryl gets fleshed out as a character there, where she's talking about how she, yeah, phrasing, right?
How we like it.
But like, yeah, she's talking about like how I didn't join the military or anything because of like my family or anything. I wanted to like prove it to myself. Like I wanted to, like, I've always, since I was a little girl, be a soldier. And like she like was romanticizing the battlefield in a big way. Yeah. It's basically the plot of the Red Badge of Courage, if you've ever read that one.
Nope. Yeah.
And like it's yeah, unfortunately she's in her panties while she's talking about that.
Yes, while she's giving this exposition.
Like a low angle.
The camera's on her butt.
Right, yeah, and it's like, it's real unfortunate because there's some really good dialogue there, honestly, and Meryl's a really interesting character in a lot of ways, and buff as fuck. Like, as like low poly as it is, you could, like, that was one of the first thing Kayla said, was like, holy shit, look at those guns. Like, but
definitely a cool dynamic of the rookie soldier with the legendary I've seen it all kind of thing, and her romanticized vision of it is not what Snake knows what it really is all about.
The smell of blood on her uniform, actually killing somebody for the first time, things that
sneaking cigarettes in your ass just for that
absolutely.
That one puff.
Oh.
Sometimes you just need to feel,
Kayla, I just want to tell you, the cigarettes thing has been a staple since the beginning of this series. In the first Metal Gear, there's this weird little trippy like ladder maze that you got to get out of before the place explodes. And if you use the cigarettes during that scene, it gives you like an extra 3 minutes to get out of there if you fucked up.
Makes sense.
Oh, really?
It takes the edge off. Time doesn't slow down, but your mind slows down.
Right.
So you can climb some more ladders.
I mean, smoking stuff is a core memory for myself as well. I'm down.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, Snake was just like really fucking high the whole time. That's why.
I mean, he was in Metal Gear Solid 5.
So we reunite with Meryl. She puts some pants on, thank God. And,
there we go.
And we go to the commander's office, right? That's like the area we've mentioned.
We have to take a certain route because there's glaciers up ahead.
Yeah, so you have to go underground.
Yeah.
To get there.
Of course. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Explain it in excruciating detail.
There's only one way. Only one way.
Only one way.
And
only one.
It leads us to one of the things, if you haven't known, like if you've never played Metal Gear or anything, you probably know about this fight. If you like kind of in the world of games and stuff, this fight is very iconic. One of the, like, if you're going to see a top 10 boss fight list, this fight is going to be on that list, kind of thing.
This bad boy jumped the shark. It's fucking. So you like to play Castlevania?
And yeah, so it's Psycho Mantis, right? The psychic character.
Shit blew my goddamn mind.
We've seen him a little bit here and there. And this right before the fight, he does some parlor tricks with you, and in the original PS1, he would read your memory card and tell you the games you had been playing. He also has little. He still does it in the Master Collection. He'll tell you about like how often you've saved.
You suck at sneaking.
Right. Yeah. You're not a very good warrior. Like he's got some really great lines.
You died a lot.
It's just a total fourth wall breaking kind of moment. He tells you to set the controller down, and Rumble was brand new for the PS1.
Yeah, it was.
And especially in '98 when the game came out. And he makes the controller rumble. It's just one of the like most bizarre kind of experiences in a game, and that's why it, like Mike said, like it's iconic. It's on those lists of greatest boss battles of all time or most iconic.
It's different, bro.
It's really cool, and the fight itself is awesome. And the Master Collection, I guess you can. I didn't find the menu, but you can like make a false memory card or whatever.
Yes, it gives you blocks like the old PlayStation 1.
Oh my god, that's so cool! I didn't know that.
And it lets you it gives you a list of games that you can copy onto the fake memory card, and it's Silent Hill, Symphony of the Night,
oh my god.
All of the Konami stuff that could have been potentially. So basically, during that part, he will read your memory card, and any Konami game that you have on there, he will bring that up, which I never knew because I never had a save.
I had Symphony of the Night, and the first time I played this game, that vibrating controller, nothing. Fucking the amount of times I died in the game, nothing. For the second he told me what the fuck was on my memory card,
yeah. And as you start, he's controlling Meryl. This is another kind of like spooky kind of part of the game. Meryl's saying like adult stuff to you, which I never experienced in a game at that point ever. That I remember that really taking me aback. Like, oh shit! Like, what?
Make love to me, Mike.
Right? Yeah. And
I also love Castlevania.
You like? Yo, dog, I like Castlevania. Yo, dog, I like Castlevania too.
Right.
Let's get married.
Kayla, how did you fare in this fight? With all of the stuff surrounding it, like all the weird.
Really hard time aiming. Like hitting him is very hard, and finding him and hitting him quick enough before he disappears or teleports or whatever.
That final phase, I think you probably had the most, where he shows up and there's like a delay where he's about to throw at you, and you're supposed to shoot him like in that moment, and that seemed to be what was the most difficult part. I would say. Yeah.
Did the whole having to switch controller ports, did that mess you up at all, or?
I looked it up ahead of time.
It really did for me.
Okay.
Because I was like, how are you going to do this on the PS5? So
I knew about the mechanic, the shtick of it, and then how do we do this on here? And then he also guided me through fighting Meryl.
Don't shoot her.
This is where the stun grenades really come in handy. There's another trick with them, because usually there's like a 4-second delay onto when they explode. If you throw one of them directly at a wall, they explode right away. And it makes that fight, that section of the fight, way easier. Because
wow.
Yeah,
Kayla just beat the shit out of her.
Punch. No, I
2 pieces of biscuit.
If you knock her out with the stun grenades, it releases the hold that he has on her.
Wow.
The mental lock.
Kayla, me too. Hey, Kayla, me too.
Yeah.
Gonna get these heads.
Yeah. Legendary fighter over here.
I always try to put Meryl through as least possible pain during that part as possible because of what's coming up.
Yes,
hey, I'm glad that my wife shot her. All right.
Oh my god.
Nice.
I was like,
Very nice.
great. Dead weight, don't need it.
Damn.
Oh, so good.
I have that in my notes. How do we feel about Meryl up to this point?
I mean, she's been unfortunately like objectified quite a bit up until this point.
A little bit, yeah.
But then there was like I said,
So
the
light.
conversation that she has is pretty powerful. I thought,
Right.
it's pretty good. So I'm
Okay,
disjointed
so
about her a little bit.
I like that Mike says at this point because you do find out more shit later.
Yeah.
But at this point, it seems like, why the fuck are you even here?
Yeah.
Other than to push along the the plot, but it gets fleshed out a little more.
Ass candy.
Yes, Candy.
Yeah, she's got a nice kid.
You don't think too
Ass,
highly of
ass,
her,
ass.
Mike?
I just never click with Meryl ever. I don't know.
You got to see Police Knots. She's really good at
true.
Police
Yeah.
Knots.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Final
you
link.
I gotta see her early work.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
check that out.
Kayla, how do you feel about Meryl? Kayla?
There we go.
Like it's pretty light. Like I don't have too much
Yeah.
to go off of. I found her. Well, I seen her listening in on our conversation. She's a rookie. She's on my side, kind of right now. It seems, and she's a damsel in distress. So I must save her.
A damsel.
So I don't
I
love.
must say,
I don't want it to be anything against her, but I don't love scenes with her in them.
It's Kojima has like almost a Tarantino thing of weird things with his female characters. And this is just the beginning where he gives kind of short shrift to chicks.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't
Right.
love Snake.
Yeah.
I don't love.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, and Hideo Kojima all hang out. Let's just say.
Yeah,
They all
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all love feet.
That I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know if you can't confirm that.
Yeah.
It's canon.
At least 33% of them love feet.
Yeah, I can confirm one of those.
It's Nolan, right?
Yes.
Just keep
No soul Nolan, they call it.
Yeah, his would be meters, because he's English.
Oh,
you get it?
that's true.
Get it, guys? I guess so would Kojima's. I think they
Oh
also
my
use
God.
the metric system. But let's get back to Psycho Mantis.
He did.
Yeah, Kayla took him out. I don't think you died during the Mantis.
don't think I
fight, did
died.
you? Yeah,
I
think you
did.
got him. Nice.
Oh.
Kayla had a couple run-ins with those the three paintings that like.
Oh,
yeah,
come-
the flips.
Yeah, and she did.
You're getting hit by that. You're
Well,
You dodged well at first.
She dodged so well at first. She got right in between two
I didn't
of them.
expect them to come back.
It was so good. It was perfect. Yeah, I was like, "Oh my god, you dodged!" Because it was like perfect. She was right between like the two of them. Took a shot at Psycho, hurt him, and then they came back and just wrecked her.
Yeah.
It was good.
My God, that's Jason Bourne.
I wonder, did anyone try to avoid those by crouching, like crawling?
No.
I wonder if that's possible, because that is such a bitch of an
Quick
attack.
crouch is not a thing for me. I'll be doing
Right.
punches. I'll be.
The only
Like,
time
yeah.
Kayla crouches is on accident.
Yeah.
Right.
Just left
Somebody's
slot,
in front of me. Lay down.
left slot rations, right slot Thomas.
Yes.
Swivel. That's it's 90% of my boss fights.
I love that they give you there's a decent amount of like ammo and there's like a ration on the battlefield and stuff too, so you can
There's
kind of
always,
stay mobile, grab some stuff. It feels good. You're not using up all your inventory.
Shoving chaff grenades up his ass.
Yes.
Did you guys use the like the button that would normally allow you to move while aiming, you can use it to see from his visor. You can see his perspective when he's invisible.
Oh, what?
And it really helps. It really helps. Yes, the first person button. If you press that, you see through his goggles. So when he disappears and reappears at the end, and he throws that like psychic ball at you, it really helps knowing where he's at, because you could position yourself and then attack.
Damn,
he pops up.
Cool.
So many layers to this battle.
It's too jarring for me. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's spooky because you like see like it's all green and you can hear him just breathing and shit. And,
playing Castlevania in his mask.
Yeah.
As I was looking up how to switch the controller on a PS5, that's not essential. Which I didn't know. Like, you could destroy the like statues that have his mask on it. Did you guys know about that?
No.
So there's
I didn't know.
Some like busts, like some statues, and I've noticed them. They have his like gas mask on them. There's like I think 3 or 4 of them, and if you die enough times, Campbell will actually call you and tell you like you should do something about the statues, and you can like destroy those statues, and that fucks with him in the same, like he can no longer like read your mind in the same way as switching the controller. But you only get that prompt if you die like 6 times or something.
I knew that like Campbell would eventually help you, but not to that extent.
Yeah, it's wild. Like it's just
That's crazy.
The different ways you can attack the battle.
Telling you, man, layers, baby.
It really is. It's impressive. I had no idea you could see through his sight. That's really cool. Or the fact that like the stun grenades are a thing you should use.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, there's just.
I mean, you could just
like
beat the fuck out of her too.
Yeah, there's like the beauty about this game is like there's a practicalness to everything that you have in your inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Like some way, if it's applicable, it can help you. And that's a very real, like on the battlefield, like I'm using everything in my arsenal.
Yeah.
Throwing chaff grenades at everyone.
Very cool. Does anyone remember this fight in Twin Snakes?
Not a fan.
Vaguely.
So
you've been playing Super Mario Sunshine.
That part I remember.
Yeah, I definitely got an actual memory card reading on that because I had Melee on my memory card. And but Silicon Knights was the developer of that, and their the portraits along are all members of the dev team.
Oh, that's cool.
Dennis Dyack being one of them, and you could get a portrait of Kojima as well. And there's a really creepy shot where like the faces like go to like a laughing face, like
I've
really
seen
creepy
that.
Switching.
I've seen like videos of that.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch that they did in that version for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, Twin Snakes is underrated. I like that game.
It's rated.
I've got it installed, I think, on this PC, but I haven't booted it up.
Probably a reason for that.
So Psycho Mantis is another example I mentioned in the Baker thing, where so once he's dead, he's on the ground, he's kind of like dying. He gives you a little bit of a lore dump about him, and he reads your future and stuff. But like you pull off his gas mask, and like there's not a lot of detail there because of PS1 graphics, but you could just like immediately like Meryl and Snake are like, oh fuck, this guy's
horrified by it.
Yeah. Like, you can tell he's got some, and you can see like even in the the PS1 graphics, you can kind of see he's got like a scar around his like cap, like his
dome.
What is that called here? His dome, his brain cap or
His
whatever
dome,
else.
Scalp,
like he's obviously has like had the top of his head removed at one point and messed with his brain.
It's kind of a tragic character too.
Oh yeah,
like fucking. I mean, not gonna go too far into it, but like it's like you get like this exposition dump from a lot of these characters after murking them.
Right. Their final breath. They get to explain all of their backstory to you.
Yeah.
It's pretty established that they're all like been experimented on.
Yeah.
To an extent. Yeah. I mean, Psycho Mantis goes way back. So
it almost like gives you the feeling a little bit of what's that game with the terrible climbing? The the fucking
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus. It's got a little feel of like how
I mean the game that you're terrible at climbing at.
Anyway, how you're supposed to feel bad of like destroying these beautiful creatures, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to that. Like all of these Foxhound members are these like incredibly unique, tortured individuals who like at one point were like the saviors of our world or whatever else, right?
To some extent,
like there are superheroes, and now you're taking them down, and then they're telling you like, yeah, like, do you really know why you're doing this, Snake? Do you really like? Do you have confidence that you know what you're doing here? Like,
there's a shit ton of that rhetoric throughout this series where it's like, it's like soldier or like, what country do you fight for or what side, mercenary, like I fight for the highest bidder or like, are you willing to serve your country under these circumstances? All kinds of shit like that.
Who's right? What's good and evil?
Yeah. So is there an objective right or wrong or, are we merely just serving the highest bidder or the side we think is right? It comes down to it, But yeah, this guy had a fucked up life. His dad wanted to kill him, and he could read his thoughts.
Yeah,
and, rough. Imagine that would fuck with any child.
Yeah, Psycho Mantis is creepy as shit for sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
Top tier.
But yeah, he was so nice to open up a secret entrance for us after we defeat him
that way
and give us advice. Yeah, go past the command tower, the radio towers. He gives us like a full detail on how to access.
Of course.
And then he's like,
Yeah.
And the next section we get to see some puppies, some doggies, some wolf dogs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it feels so bad to kill them. I don't like killing them.
Did you? Why the fuck would you do that?
It was them or me, man, and a lot of times it was them. A lot of times they got me.
I don't think I've ever killed them.
Oh, no, get out of my way.
You guys are awful. You guys are awful. Stun grenades. Fucking run.
See, I never think stun grenades.
I need to save those.
You don't even need them, man. You just beeline to the hole you got to crawl through, man. They give you like 4 rations in that area.
This is one of the most annoying parts of the game for me as well, is finding these little tunnels in this dark ass tunnel kind of cave area.
Night vision.
These dogs are pissed at you because they're trying to protect their babies and shit. And it's really annoying. If you don't have the night vision goggles, it's just like pitch black, and there's like 2 specific spots you have to find to crawl under to get back to Meryl, who just fucking knows how to do it. Just immediately books it.
No, I think the thing is there's a little crack in the wall down the one path, and she's just small enough to get through it.
Yeah,
so you got to go the long way.
I remember playing that.
You're a big man.
You're too muscular. You're such a big man.
Your hips don't sway into the edges.
I remember finding that crack.
I follow, but I'm too buff, Meryl.
Yeah. I remember finding that crack when I first played it and thinking it was another C4 situation.
Oh.
And really being stuck on that part for a while and just never figuring out how to get over to Meryl. I can see you. You're right fucking there.
Logically, Mike.
It would have been. Yeah.
It should have been.
But
they were like, no, deal with these wolves.
Yeah.
Did you guys know how to get the wolves on your side?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did not. That's that's I had to I came about that in the in my researches after the fact.
The handkerchief, right?
Yeah.
No. The box is what I was.
Right.
They can pee on it.
They'll pee on the box. Yeah.
Because Hideo Kojima loves pee.
He does.
Later on, there's a handkerchief item, I believe that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I guess I do remember that one. Yeah. But
I knew about both of them.
Yeah, the box aspect. But no, we get a pretty harrowing scene after we meet back up with Meryl. We get to a nice long area, long corridor. But before that, Meryl knows where the bombs are buried. There's another minefield, and she does a cool little she walks the path you need to walk, and it uses the real cool physics that this game has of like it's cold, footprints. So there's footprints, but they go away, so you have to follow it rather quickly in like a kind of a Z pattern to miss the bombs, and pretty cool little scene.
The reasoning why she can see the bombs is because when Psycho Manus went into her brain, she also saw like part of his brain or something, and
something like that.
Knows the location of the mines. Yeah.
It all makes perfect sense.
Another thing where Kojima's like, I need to explain myself out of every loophole that I can.
You got nothing on me.
Yeah.
And then our damsel, our Meryl, gets blasted like 3 times.
You're gonna work your way down that corridor, and it just cuts to a scope site. Someone rolling down on our heroes here. It's rough. That's some Saving Private Ryan shit. Like going like just she gets it in both legs. She goes for her gun, gets shot. I assume in the hand or somewhere in the arm.
Bicep, I think.
Yeah, fucking arm.
God, it's gotta be so painful. And
she says, "Fucking leave me."
She wants him to shoot her. Like he asks Snake to shoot her because like she knows what's happening. Like the sniper is trying to like bait him out, and she says like, "No, Snake, I'm done. Like shoot me." And like Meryl's a G, man. Meryl's like fucking
This game has a really good way of like building up this whole like you have this real sympathetic like talk between her and Snake. She's like, "Fucking just put me down, fucking move on. You got to stop this fucking walking nuclear tank." She's ready. She's like, this is it for me. And then you're like, oh fuck, and they're playing the music, or it's like, oh, sad times.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, time to G up. Fucking Campbell calls you. It's like, don't worry, I got you, bro. It's like,
everyone's kind of in a panic, right? At this point, and it creates such a panic in you, the player. Yep. And I know I've talked about the moments in The Last of Us and BioShock Infinite where like your other character is in trouble and you need to you're trying to help them as quickly as possible, and you know that you need a weapon that you don't fucking have. Yep. And it's like, can I race and get this weapon? I remember playing this game and thinking, man, if I get the sniper rifle as fast as possible, if I know exactly where to go, I don't mess up anything, maybe I can get back in time and something changes, and that never happens. But it definitely created that like fight or flight instinct in me. Like, what I need to save her. I need to help, I need to get there as quick as possible. And just great stuff. Great. Like,
man.
The roller coaster that you can go on in this game.
The voice acting like ratchets it up like fucking because
it's very important.
Campbell's got skin in the game, man. So it's like he's begging you at this point, and like Snake's got to keep his cool. He's like, don't worry, I'll find a way. But even then, you have the conversation with Otacon. It's like, have you ever seen a sniper on this base? And then he's like, oh, yeah, it's all the way back there. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting way to get, like, to lengthen the game, in a like a development standpoint. Like, the backtracking of it all. And if you've been playing it pretty straight up until that point, like every time you've gotten a new key card, you've had the opportunity to backtrack if you wanted to, but you didn't necessarily have to. So it's a real cool incentive to like, man, now I got like a level 5 key card. I can go back to all these rooms I maybe haven't gone. I can load up if I'm low on ammo.
But Meryl needs you, Eric.
Meryl needs you, right? Like,
but I got to pick up that medicine in the off chance I catch a cold.
Yeah, you need that diazepam.
And I have a crippling diazepam addiction, so I gotta go pick up some more scripts.
And Kayla realized right away, like when we did pick up the diazepam, she's like, "Oh, what? Okay, yeah, you need
to get sleepy up in here."
Get sleepy, and I said, "Oh, that'll come into play, love." And so
goosey, baby.
hats off to the engineers or the electricians on Shadow Moses, because as you go back through this place, there are new cameras installed.
Those guys are fucking.
A whole new round of staff has been positioned in certain areas.
You know what? It's either hats off to them or a hats down to them, because maybe they're just behind schedule, Mike. All the wiring's there. They just never got around to hooking it up.
I guess, man. Yeah.
It sounds like some shit. Are we gonna have the fucking talk about, the engineers that worked on the Death Star? Did they know whether or not?
No, we're not. We're not going to.
Same guys. Shadow Moses and the Death Star. Same guys.
They're contractors.
Yeah.
So but it's just a cool way to do the backtracking, like having different amount of enemies, different traps for you. Getting through that armory, getting back long enough, is kind of tough.
Just long enough for you to remember that there's pitfall traps in the basement where you go get that sniper.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty cool too, especially if you are rushing. If you care about Meryl, like you've now gotten some more guns that you didn't have before. Maybe you got the silencer for the SOCOM. Like, you can kind of run through and just blast dudes, because I got to get that, like, sniper rifle. I don't have to worry about stealth right now. I'm going and I'm killing motherfuckers.
Anyways, I started blast.
Right. It's very much. It's almost like a second way to play the game. Back to front a little bit. So you get the sniper rifle and you go back, and Meryl's nowhere to be found, guys. By the way,
her blood is though.
Her blood's soaking the ground there, and Kayla had some interesting moments in this battle where you didn't die. I don't think you died once in the sniper battle. I don't remember you dying, but
I don't think I died.
This is,
took a little while though.
Right, yeah, and
there's a cheat code item for this fight for sure.
The diazepam, you mean, or like...
the thermal goggles?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. No, I don't think we thought to use those, did we?
It helps.
Yeah, because she's a human.
That's the way. Like, this game has so many cool ways, like, to give you like a one up on this fight.
I had trouble finding her. I had trouble aiming at her.
Oh yeah,
because it's such a weird, the whole game has weird controls. We've mentioned it, but like the fact of like as soon as you equip the gun, you immediately it forces you to go prone, and then forces you to be down the sight. It's very odd.
I think Snake has early onset Parkinson's because he cannot keep steady for any fucking thing.
The greatest soldier ever, right?
Like, Muhammad Ali fucking.
He has to just keep that thing steady for 5 seconds. He has to take
a hardcore sedative.
Diazepam is literally the shit we sedate patients with at work.
Right?
Like,
I think he's just addicted to diazepam. It's got nothing to do with it.
He's just got those shakes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm coming to get you, Meryl.
I've watched half of The Killer, and Snake needs to take some lessons from Fassbender's character.
More yoga, right? More yoga, less diazepam, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's just literally like two addicts fucking just nodding off during a sniper battle. It's all just happening in your head.
Yeah, I think
we haven't got to Metal Gear 3.
Allegory for drug abuse.
Oh, but the thing that got Kayla a couple times is there's a decent like recoil on the gun, but where there's more recoil is when you get shot
fucking
by
blasted.
Sniper Wolf. Your camera goes fucking behind you for some reason.
That swivel we talked about.
R1,
yep.
R1, unequip that sniper rifle. Line yourself back up.
Yeah.
R1.
Kayla figured that one out pretty quick because it was literally it's the pelvis pivot.
They can only aim
Pelvis
at
pivot.
the speed of smell when he's turning with the sniper rifle. It's
so good. But Sniper Wolf was defeated, and
hell yeah.
temporarily, maybe.
Whoa, hey. Well, she ain't dead.
Hey, we beat her.
And that's where we stopped.
Yes.
Right there. And I think that's probably where we can at least stop part 1 of the conversation, unless there's something we've missed in the first half of the game, anything that we need to talk about before we wrap up the episode, I think.
I mean, really just small things. I love the codec animations.
Oh my god, yeah.
I love just how good they look, like they
super detailed.
Yeah, and it makes up for the low poly look in the actual in-game.
Yep.
If you get such a detailed look of what Snake's supposed to look like, what Meryl, Hal, everyone, and they're really gorgeous. And just the quick, if they encounter somebody in their cuts, you get that they'll look away, they'll look to the side, they'll change their emotion on their face, and really, really, really cool stuff.
I think there's something to be said about like the ambiance that like just the regular music in the background, depending where you're at, and you got these long exposition dumps. It's like it's quiet, but you have like this music playing in the background, and you're having this fucking dump of like
the score is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like holy shit. It's like I'm in, dude. Like I played this game with fucking headphones in, like, and my experience was awesome.
Yeah,
like Jackie is like trying to talk to me. I'm like, oh, hold on, wait. like good part. Snake's talking.
The alert music is just like in my brain. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Like, yeah, it's just like I'm doing that every day in my head constantly.
Yo,
I'm
like,
on
and,
alert.
and then you got like the fucking siren that like kicks it off at the beginning too. It's like it's fucking blended so well into the music.
The
unbelievable sound design, just like from they thought of every little thing from footsteps to the game over. The weird how the fucking title, the game over screen enters. It's
a fucking action movie, bro.
The gunfire sounds really good. Like, I mean, it doesn't sound like a video game gunfire.
The concussion that's coming off.
The restart, like when you die and then you hit continue. Like that fucking gun with the casing hitting the fucking ground.
Yeah.
What a game.
Oof.
What a game.
What a game.
Too bad the second part sucks, right, guys? Like, Kayla doesn't know what she's getting into.
No way.
It's just so lame, right?
Kayla, I will tell you, I've been actively holding back so much because of the second part of this game. Oh,
because
man.
It's so bad.
There's a lot of cool.
Awful.
Do you think we kind of hit halfway, right, with this?
Yeah,
in my mind,
like I think so. I think we did well.
I'm trying to think what's after this.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. You got that. And then you got that. And then that.
And then the big,
catch up.
Right.
This game finishes really strong.
I'm so excited. It's been so fun just like watching Kayla. It's been great. And I've been able to take notes. It's been really fun.
I envy you so much. Like that's God.
What do you think so far, Kayla? Like can you see what we saw back then? Is it hold up? Is it fun?
It's fun. It's definitely just less mechanic, like exploring wise than like things are now.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is fine, but you have to like mentally make that adjustment. I don't want to say it holds up because I'm obviously very cringy over a lot of things.
Yeah.
That
Sans
part,
all though.
That part I don't love. But I'm always in it for a good like story driven like video game. So I like looking. I heard lots of things, we talked about over the years, so I know the twists. Sure. Maybe not all the details, but I know shit is gonna get crazy.
Oh, God, yeah. Strap in.
Yeah, once the time travel comes, you're gonna love it.
Once I play a little bit and I'm more comfortable, then I'm like, oh, okay. But I have to like redo that every single time I go in to play. Like you have to adjust.
Sure.
That's really the only
you just gotta readjust
negative thing I can say about it. I think it is amazing all the stuff that it does. And it looks cool. Like the art and concept art and stuff is always cool.
Oh yeah.
We got a glimpse of Rex, the actual design of Rex, and man, I think Rex might be the most impressive thing on a PS1.
Sick.
I don't know.
It's so sick, bro. Like, don't even get me started, man. Like, part 2 right now. Let's go.
Spoilers, Kayla. You're gonna see more Rex. Metal Gear Rex.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Cool.
God.
So.
And the second half.
The Metal Gear.
There's so much cool shit, like, just waiting for you. Like, exposition. Like, they have yet to jump the shark, Kayla. Like, oh man.
And there's so much cool shit waiting for all of you in our next episode. Episode 147 will be part 2 of our disc dive into Metal Gear Solid. We played, if you didn't listen to this last 2 hours, we played up until the end of the first Sniper Wolf fight, and we will finish the game and then review it in our next episode, part 2 of the disc dive of Metal Gear Solid. Thank you guys for sticking with us. This is a nice long episode of the Machine of Nonsense. Mike made a really cool post on social media, on our Facebook fan group. Throw any questions you have for us. Any questions, comments, feedback, any of your memories of Metal Gear Solid. Let us know. We'd love to include those in part 2 of the discussion. Doesn't matter if it's maybe something to do with part 1. We'll bring it into the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. Shoot it in an email if you want, machineofnonsense@gmail.com. I'll check that and make sure if we get any emails between now and the next episode, I'll include those. Only Metal Gear related emails, please. We'll save the rest for other.
I mean, that
episodes.
isn't really.
So guys, until next time, this was episode 146 of the Machine of Nonsense. We did our part 1 disc dive into Metal Gear Solid. We are signing off and saying, Snake?
Muff.
That's pretty good.
I see you've been streaming the Machine of Nonsense.
Boom.
It's good.
Bye, everybody.
Meryl.
Metal Gear.